the results that I wanted being in my past companies. And so one thing that I learned over my first two companies was what was it that really was sort of impacting me in reaching those big incomes. So, I was able to build a big team, but I wasn't able to get the kind of checks or the kind of, promises that was given to me. And that's when I came across our CEO, Mr. Ramin Mesgarlou, and he taught me a few things about the compensation plan. I mean, my first boot camp where he did a special training on comp plans completely opened my eyes and showed me a whole new world. And, the first month I couldn't believe the kind of comp plan we had at GWT here. So without further ado, I want to dive right into this. I'm going to share with you guys what basically makes GWT's compensation plan unmatched, okay? And I even have a website on www.ourgwt.com. I can get to you again later on, that I've actually compared many of the other companies' compensation plans to ours, and many of the other companies' comp plans, as you will see, have what we call pitfalls. So here we go. We're going to talk about the pitfalls of compensation plans in MLM. And I just want to say that, I think my background as a computer science software engineer does help a little bit in understanding these kind of trees or the payouts. But you don't have to get fancy. You don't have to try to know all this stuff. I'm going to show you guys a quick few tips that when you talk to other network marketers, the only things you have to say in order to make yourself sound a lot more smarter and be able to sort of, put the strength in your trade. But the rule is, and everyone knows, is that there's many compensation plans in the world. And if you have a pen and paper, get ready for this, because there are actually 5 generic comp plans in the world, okay? The oldest one is called the unilevel plan, okay? So a lot of the older companies started at unilevel, which basically meant you had many legs. And then the newer ones became what we call the matrix, okay? And the matrix is basically, you can only have 3 or 5 legs, but it only pays you down to, for example, a few levels. Then we have, of course, the stair-step breakaways, we have the binaries, and we have the hybrids. But you don't have to know all of that, because tonight I'm going to show you the little things you need to know when you're talking to other prospects, okay? And again, there are many pitfalls in compensation plans that people don't even realize because you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know something better than what you're currently in, you don't know it exists until someone shows you. And so sadly enough, some compensation plans actually have more than one pitfall, and some even have almost all of them. So I've seen some compensation plans where when I'm looking at it, I almost want to puke because I'm seeing so many heartaches and headaches and loopholes and, and things you have to sort of watch out for. And so what we have in this training is what the CEO teaches. He calls it the game over clause, okay? And whenever you see something that's a pitfall, we basically say it's game over. And what that means is that there's no point in continuing trying to build yourself a residual income or income in that company once you see a game over clause, okay? It means it's totally game over. So again, when you see game over clause, it just means that you've hit a brick wall. It means that you've reached the end of the track. It means that the sky is not the limit. And it means it's time to throw in the towel, because no matter how hard you work, you're going to be spinning in circles trying to get these big checks, okay? So moving right along here, again, when you see a game over clause, know that there is something else better out there. And that something else that's better out there is your own company. It's GWT, and you'll see exactly why that is tonight. Now, the first pitfall that you have to understand when it comes to any kind of company is it commission versus bonuses? So does a company pay out more in commissions, or is it more focused on bonuses? Because commissions are not bonuses. They're very different. And in any kind of compensation plan that I've seen, you can browse a whole entire PDF document, because you'll see a whole bunch of bonuses, but only one piece in the whole entire PDF compensation plan breakdown is going to be your commissions. And I want you to write this down, because commissions are your main revenue streams, okay? You have to understand this, okay? Commissions is your main revenue streams. Why is that? Because commissions are paid weekly, and they're paid forever. In fact, most companies, when they actually create a compensation plan, they have to decide, do I pay more in commissions or do I pay more in bonuses? And most companies choose bonuses because bonuses are a small part of income. In fact, bonuses are one time. So know this, right? Bonuses is not something that you work once and you get paid forever. Bonuses, you work once and you only get it once. So once you get them, you have to do something to get it again. You have to requalify, do more work, do something, okay? And you have to understand for yourself that you are not here to make bonuses, because bonuses are not long-term residual income, but commissions are. So again, payout allocations in bonuses. So if a company focuses in paying out bonuses, those make the company rich, okay? Whereas payout allocations that focus in commissions or residual income, which is commissions, make the distributor rich, that make you rich. So you want to make commission because they pay out weekly forever. And again, the general rule is that 80% of the payout allocation should be in commissions. So for example, if a company says they have a payout of 50%, then you want to double check that is 80% of the 50% paid out in commissions and not in bonuses. Okay, so once you see a company's total payout, you want to sort of understand, well, is majority of that payout going to be in commissions or in bonuses? If it's in bonuses, then game over. Okay, so for example, I've seen some companies, and not to put any names tonight, and other companies, but for example, this ABC company I saw recently, they have 20 ways to earn commissions, and 19 of them are actually bonuses, and one is actually in your residual income. In other words, that's called a game over clause, because again, most of your earning is going to be in bonuses and not in residual income, okay? So don't get tricked by seeing all these different ways of making money, because the reality is that any kind of company actually only has 6 or 7 main ways to pay you out, whether it's matching bonuses or residual income or fast start bonuses. But some companies can make one bonus become 20. It looks like a lot, but it really is just the same bonus, okay? So the beautiful thing about our CEO, Mr. Ramin Mesgarlou, and what he's done in this industry is his focus is to pay out in commissions. He wants to make sure that he can create 1,000 millionaires and a whole bunch of people making 6-figure incomes, 5-figure incomes, and to be able to live a very steady income for life. So in GWT, you get paid basically 10% point to dollar down to infinity. So we focus heavily in commissions and not in bonuses. Now, that's the first pitfall. The second pitfall is very simple, is what we call levels. Does your company pay out to a certain amount of levels, okay? In other words, how many levels down do you get paid, all right? So if your company or the compensation plan does not pay to infinity, then it's game over, because it means that you're not given or allowed to earn income on everyone forever. So, whenever I see a comp plan that only pays down to 4 levels or 8 levels, I already know it's not worth anyone's time building that company's compensation plan, because the majority of the people, 99.9% of those people, will never make the income they can ever dream of, okay? So again, if you look at history stats, most of the bulk of distributors in one's downline is actually past 8 levels. So if you look at any kind of person that's been in a company, for more than 2 or 3, 4, 5 years, and you look at where are all the people in their downlines, you'll notice that majority of the people are actually past the 8th level. So for example, if you had 1,000 distributors, but most of those 1,000 distributors are actually placed after your first 8 levels, then you can see how detrimental this payout levels can impact you, because you're not getting paid out on the majority of the people. You're only getting paid down to 8 levels. Okay, so levels is very important. Okay, and the reality is the longer you are in business. So for example, maybe the first year that you're in a company, your team might not go down that deep, and maybe the majority of the people are sort of mixed between the top 8 and past that. But the reality is, the deeper your organization gets, so basically it gets deeper and deeper over time, and that just happens because every year you stay in the business, your organization gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, you can imagine that if you're only getting paid on the first 8 levels, it means every single year you're losing out more and more and more. So it doesn't make sense to get paid out only to a certain amount of levels, especially when the majority of your organization is past the 8th level. Okay. Now I've seen some companies, where you have to do something or reach a rank to unlock all the levels. And so, when I meet someone, I may say, well, your company only pays down to down to 8 levels. And they might say, well, Rene, if you reach this thing called Super NATO Commander, then you can get paid down to infinity. That is still a game over clause, okay? Why not join a plan that pays you down to infinity without having to do anything? Because at GWT, the day you join Global Wealth Trade, you're getting paid from the first level down to the millionth to infinity levels without having to do a single thing, without having to lift a finger. So again, any company that has any kind of, do something to get all the levels, it's still a game over clause. Now, these stats might sound familiar to you if you've been in this company, but I know there's one company, ABC company, that pays you 0.25% on the first level, and then 0.25% on the second level, and then 0.5% on the third level, 1% on the fourth, 2% on the fifth, 3% on the sixth, and 8% on the last level. So that's your 8 levels right there. So basically, at best, you're making 8% on the last level. And that's if you're lucky enough to have everyone on that 8th level. Okay. So the difference with GWT is you're not getting paid 0.25% or 0.5% or 1% or 2 or 3%. You're getting paid basically 10%, dollar to point, or 8% dollar to dollar from the first level down to infinity on day one. Okay. And you have to realize that, another sort of pitfall that's hidden within here is if a company doesn't have the same percentage payout on the first level and the second level and the third level, it's another game over clause. So in this example of this company over here, where they only pay you 0.25% on the first two, 0.5% on the third level, which is the third level down from you, that's still a game over clause. Because why can't they just pay you the same percentage on all levels like we do here at GWT? And the answer to that is because the company simply cannot afford to. The product or their service that they're selling, the natural profit margins are just way too low. Whereas at GWT, our profit margins, we have a naturally high profit margins. And the key word is natural, naturally high profit margin. Because when your company has a naturally high profit margin, what that means is that we don't the prices aren't at the point where people don't want to buy. So it's not, sort of exploded to the point where it's unaffordable. Okay, so we have a naturally high profit margin. Okay, and that's our pitfall number 2. But going on here, okay, I've seen other companies again, and we already covered this, where once you get down to 8 levels, if you reach a certain rank, then you might get paid 1% on level 9 down to the rest. Okay, again, game over, because GWT, you're getting paid the same percentage on the first level down to the very last level. Okay, so now we already talked about this before, but there's other kind of company compensation plans out there, and I kind of covered it really quickly. And the first one again is one of them is what's called the matrix. Okay, the matrix basically pays down to certain levels. Okay, so basically, if you see a matrix that says 2 by 10, what 2 by 10 means is that you only have 2 legs, but you get paid down to 10 levels. Okay, if you get a 3 by 7 matrix, what that means is that you have 3, you can build 3 legs, but get paid down to 7 levels. Okay, that's how a matrix works. So it's kind of like there's a fixture on how wide and how deep you can go. Again, a matrix does not pay you down to infinity, so game over. Okay, in a unit level plan, they have infinite amount of legs. You can build 6 legs, 20 legs, 30 legs, 100 legs, but it only pays you down to a certain amount of levels, like 4 or 5 levels. Okay, and again, because the unit level only pays down to a certain amount of levels, it means game over. Okay, another kind of plan out there is kind of fading away now. It's called the stair-step breakaway, where basically the more sales you do, the more percentage you get off your own discounts, which means more income you can make. And then once someone in your team actually matches your level of sales, that person kind of breaks away from you. So what happens is you have these teams that you're sort of working with, and once someone in that team sort of matches what you're doing, that team ends up sort of breaking away from you. And so in other words, and then that team now is not paying you the same percentage. So it's kind of weird. It really doesn't make any sense, but basically it exists. But the point is that it doesn't pay you to infinity because those people break away from you. You get less from them. So again, game over clause there. Okay. The fourth type is called the binary system, and there's no level. So the good thing about binary is it pays you down to infinity. However, there are many other restrictions in binaries that we also call game over. Okay, so some binaries, and we're going to cover that later on about some of the restrictions, but some binaries have a very rigid sort of structure where still we call it game over. Okay, and the fifth type is what we call hybrids. And a hybrid basically tries to combine different sort of compensation plan types. But the problem is that they're trying to get more fancy, but they still have a certain level payout. So again, it's still a game over cause when it comes to hybrids. So that's number two. The third pitfall is when you have a payout with ranks. And ranks is something where a lot of people think it's a good thing, but when you actually understand what ranks do, it's not really a good thing. So the question is, does your compensation plan have ranks? And the second you see a compensation plan that has ranks, which impact the residual income that you can make, it means game over, okay? Because what is the real purpose of ranks? And some of you might think that, well, a rank is designed, to motivate people and give people targets to reach for. And no, okay? If you want a target to reach for, I'll give you a target to reach for, okay? Because the only purpose, of a rank, and there's only one purpose of a rank, and understand this, it's not to motivate you. That's a common myth. The only purpose of a rank is to simply restrict the flow of money from the company to you. It's restricting how much you make. Because think of it this way. If a company could pay everyone the same amount of money, why have ranks? I mean, here's a very even more simple question. Why does a company have ranks in the first place? What is the purpose of a company having ranks? I mean, wouldn't it be easier if a company didn't have all these confusing ranks that would dictate how much you make? So my point is that companies have ranks because they can't afford to pay everyone the same amount of money, so they have to have ranks. So again, companies have ranks in place because they can't afford to pay everyone the same payout. Because if they did, most companies would go bankrupt. So think of it this way. If a company could afford to pay the highest, the Super NATO Commander rank or the G.I. Joe rank or the Super Barbie rank, whatever you want to call it, okay? If they could afford to pay this person, what they paid them, they can afford to pay you the same amount of money, then why don't they? And the answer is because they cannot afford to. Because if they paid the top ranked person in your company the same amount they paid everyone else, then the company would go completely bankrupt, okay? So, again, another question to think about is why does someone who accomplished this Super NATO Commander rank, and what we mean by the Super NATO Commander rank is basically the highest rank you can achieve in a company where only 0.01% actually get that. But why is it that someone who accomplishes the Super NATO Commander rank make more than you do? I mean, you're both working hard in the company. I mean, I know some people that probably work harder than these Super NATO Commander ranks. So why is it that you're working harder than they are, yet they're allowed to make more than you are? So why does both people working hard, why does one get more? And the answer is because, again, the company cannot afford to pay everyone the same amount of money, okay? So, you have to be very careful here because I see a lot of companies out there that say that they pay out 50%, but, you have to accomplish the Super NATO Commander rank or Super Special Triple Diamond 5-star Janitor rank, okay, to unlock the 50%. So if you have to do something to unlock the full payout, like try to build a certain structure in your downline to achieve the highest payout at 50%, then it's not really 50%. Okay, so it's not what it looks like. All right, and that's ranks. Now ranks we can talk about for days because the question again about ranks is if you have to reach these ranks in order to unlock different kind of bonuses, then what do those bonuses really have to do with you? Because majority of the people can't even attain these ranks. So all these bonuses that people are talking about, like, well, when we have this, this global revenue thing, we have this universal leadership, NATO commander rank pool, where if you reach this rank, you get, all this money. But again, what do these bonuses have to do with you if you can never achieve this rank, because only 0.01% of the people actually reach that rank? Okay, so in other words, most companies have bonuses that have nothing to do with 99% of the people in the company. So most companies' bonuses and all these crazy payouts that they're telling you can make $1 million has nothing in the world to do with 99% of the people in that company, because they don't have that rank. So, in my opinion, ranks are a pain in the butt. First of all, you have to achieve the rank, and it's not even easy sometimes to achieve those ranks. I mean, the first rank should be really easy. The second one, the third one, the fourth one, you're going to basically shoot yourself, because it's really hard to get those kind of ranks, okay? But once you achieve the rank, guess what? You also have to maintain the rank. And I know so many horror stories of people, who were not able to maintain the rank. And can you guess what happens when someone cannot maintain the rank? I mean, their money goes down. They lose their car, the car payments. So people have actually gone bankrupt because they weren't able to maintain the rank, and they lost the money that they thought they had. Okay. And again, the bigger question to ask is, look, can you lose your rank? Because some companies, you can gain a rank, but you can also lose a rank. So if you lose your rank, then do you lose your bonuses? So some companies, when you lose your rank, you also lose the bonuses. So if you were making $5,000 a month, and then you lost your rank, and then you lost your bonuses, which was, if the majority of your comp plan was paying you in bonuses, like 4,000 of the 5,000, then your checks went from 5,000 down to 1,000, and again, financial disaster. Okay. And the bigger question is, can your team lose their ranks? Because the worst thing than you losing a rank is when someone in your team loses their rank. Then guess what? If someone in your team loses their rank, most of the time, so do you. And there's nothing more demotivating and detrimental in your MLM business than when your team loses their ranks. Okay? So here's an example of how to understand ranks. Okay? So we have in this system here, we have an A, B, C, D, and E ranking system. Okay? And basically, to become a D, I hope you guys can see my little mouse here circling on the D. But to become a D, you have to have two what? You have to have two E's, right? Okay, so every D you see here basically has two E's. Now, I couldn't draw all of them because not enough space. My point is that to become a D, you have to have your two E's. Okay, now to become a C, you have to have how many D's? You have to have three D's, right? So this is an example of how majority of the ranks work out there. So to become a C, you want to have three Ds. And to become a B, you have to have how many C's? You have to have four C's. Okay? And to become the Super NATO Commander rank, or rank A, you have to have five B's. So you can see that getting the first rank is easy, getting two E's. Then to become a C gets a bit more trickier because we have three D's. To become a B is even harder, and becoming A is the hardest, right? So again, in this example, let's just imagine that that's you. This little green circle, that's you. Okay, so right now you're a C and you have three Ds. Okay, so hopefully everyone here is following along. Now, let's just say that you're not a C and you are currently a D. So you, in the circle here, you are actually a D and you want to become a C. So you are a D because you currently have two Ds and you have one E. Okay, so the question is, what is your goal? And your goal is you want to help this E become a what? You want to help this E become a D, because by having three Ds, you become a C. Okay, this is what we call a compensation plan contradiction. Why? Because in this example over here, you now don't want to help your two Ds. In fact, you only want to help your E. Okay? And the reason why is because what happens if one of these other Ds was growing so fast and they want to become a C that they surpass you? So again, that would actually hurt you. So I don't like those systems where you're forced to choose, where in your teams you want to help make money and ignore the others. So if E happens to be your all-star, that's great. But if D happens to be your all-star, yet now because you want to help E become a D, you don't help D as much, that is a compensation plan contradiction. Okay? That's one issue when it comes to ranks. Okay? But again, if someone who's a D is growing so fast, usually you want to pour fuel on the fire. You want to help this person ignite and keep on growing. But because of this ranking system, you now don't want to help that person, which makes no sense to me. Okay? So again, why bother dealing with ranks when you have a compensation plan like GWT that doesn't have any ranks? Okay? Now, let's just say that, again, you're still a D, but now one of your two Ds became a C. So one of your downlines actually surpassed your rank. What happens now? Guess what? You just lost a whole lot of bonuses, and if your plan was bonus focused, then you just got gamed over. You got the Street Fighter, knockout, game over kind of craziness. All right, I mean, you just lost a lot of your bonuses there. Okay, so again, now what you're trying to do now is you want to slow down. Hey, C, slow down, C. Don't go too fast because I want to help these other people catch up and become and you actually want the C person to become a D to make you into a C. So there's so much craziness and retardedness that happens when you have a rank system, and that's why I hate it so much. Now, this is the example where someone surpassed your rank and you got hurt. But, what happens if someone actually just matched your rank? Let's say you were a D and someone in your team was also a D. Guess what? You still get hurt. You have these override commissions, whatever you call them, but the majority of the time, again, you're still losing a majority of your income. Okay? So if you ever hear those companies that have this supernatal commander or RVP or NTD or ABC or XYZ kind of person, right? If you think about this, everyone who is above those people are basically screwed. So if you ever meet this RVP guy or supernatal commander guy or NTD or super triple diamond guy, you want to ask them, hey, how's everyone above you? How are they doing? Because the people who are above them for the rest of their lives can never make the money of that top guy because they're above him. They had to try to surpass him, but he's already the highest rank. So that's some of the things that you don't ever hear about is everyone who's above these supernatal commander ranks, they're all basically screwed out there. Okay. Now again, let's just say now that you actually were a C. Okay, so you're lucky enough that you were a C because you had 3 Ds. But what happens again if if one of your 3 Ds was to lose his rank or her rank and became an E? Again, when someone in your downline drops a rank, then you just lost your rank. You went from a C, you now became a D, and now you just lost a bunch of your bonuses and your commissions, and you got Street Fighter game over. I mean, that's just like you just lost a majority of your income again. So the worst part about this is not only does it demotivate you when you lose your rank, but it also demotivates your team when they lose their rank. I can guarantee you when someone in your team loses their rank, trust me, it's very hard to get those people back up again. And I know this very well because in my last company, Sherry Zhao, one of our regional ambassadors, again, 10K income earners, President Cup winners, Sherry Zhao was actually my upline in my previous company. And she was happy when I was, her downline and her lower rank. But the second I actually matched Sherry Zhao's rank, she lost a whack load of bonuses and she basically didn't even want to do the business anymore. And the second I even surpassed Sherry, she's like, okay, screw this, too late, game over, because she knows that she can't really catch up anymore. And that's a contradiction. Whereas in this company at GWT, when you have someone in your team who's doing so well, who's like a dynamite all-star, you know what? You're happy because, you want to keep pouring fuel on that fire because that person never hurts you. Nothing when you have a downline in your team who's doing so well can ever impact you in a negative way. The better your downline does at GWT, the more benefit you get for yourself. So we don't have those problems that we have here. So we don't have those problems. At GWT, life is good, okay? Now, sorry for that long explanation of ranks, but ranks is a big issue people don't realize, so I want to cover that really immensely. But our pitfall number 4 is payout gimmicks and car programs. And I've seen a lot of people get hurt by these because, and I've seen thousands and thousands of lawsuits from distributors who are suing the company for the horrible car program. Because the question is, whose name is on that lease? Is it your name or is it the company's name? Okay? Because what happens if you don't maintain the qualifications for your car and you are on the lease? Uh-oh, guess what? Who's paying for that car now? Not the company, it's poor old you. Okay? So if you weren't expecting to have $800 to pay for that car, well, if you don't have the money for it, well, guess what? There goes your credit rating and here comes bankruptcy, right? So you end up paying for it, and I've seen people go bankrupt because they couldn't get rid of their car, okay? So be careful with companies that give you a car too quickly. Don't think that it's the newest thing on the block where it's amazing. Trust me, it's a gimmick. Most of the time, guess what? You are qualified, you are on the lease for it, and that means that you'll most likely be paying for it. So, besides, would you rather get a car lease that you pay at least $1,000 a month to drive, where you just got started, or would you rather take $1,000 cash? So, getting a car that's like $1,000 a month, would you want that where you might actually, not qualify for the monthly payments and you pay it yourself, or would you rather just take that $1,000 in cash and you take that money and decide what to do with it? So at GWT, we focus on paying you guys all of the commissions up front. You decide what you want to do with that, whether it's a car, paying a mortgage, paying the bills, buying something for yourself. You decide what to do with your money. Okay, so example, if you go onto LeaseBusters right now, there's so many BMWs out there on LeaseBusters because the people who qualified for them at first could not maintain the qualifications for the free payment, and now they're trying to get rid of them because they can't afford to pay it every single month. Again, Street Fighter, TKO, game over. I mean, just walk away from that car program. It's a big pitfall, okay? But at GWT, the grass is greener, life is good. Once you get the car, it is yours without qualification. That means it's yours 18 months prepaid. You don't have to worry about you paying for the car. It's already prepaid. It's the world's and industry's first proper car program. Thank you, Mr. CEO, Ramin Mesgarlou, for the amazing car program we have. Again, our national ambassador, 2-time President's Cup winner, Mr. Rene Mesgarlou. He's driving his sick Audi A8 with a refrigerator in the trunk. I mean, congratulations. I can't wait to get mine. Again, guys, go after your car program. Okay. Pitfall number 5. Big one here. Getting some water. Getting so excited here. Okay. Does your company have flushing or blocking of commissionable volume? Okay. And a lot of times you don't see this in the presentation. You don't see it in the comp plan breakdown. You only know about it when it happens to you. So you want to make sure you ask these questions up front. Does your company have flushing or do they block the volume? Okay. So again, the question is, does your compensation plan flush volume? Because at GWT, we simply never flush the volume. You pay your monthly IA, you bank volume forever. Okay. Other question, does the company flush volume after you reach a certain point? So many companies out there, when you reach a certain point, like you sort of cycle or you make this much money, they then flush the rest, okay? Again, GWT never flushes volume after a certain point. So there's another company I know of, once you make the maximum weekly check of $1,000 a week, all the additional volume that you had there that you didn't get paid on because you only get paid $1,000 a week, the rest of that gets flushed. I mean, it's horrible. That's like taking candy from a baby. That's like robbing a granny. I mean, it's just not right because you worked for that. That was your volume. Okay. Other question: does your compensation plan flush volume after a certain period? So some companies, again, you never see this, in any of their documents, but under P&P in a small little font, it'll say after 1 year, all of your volume gets flushed. At GWT, we never flush your volume. That's why Mr. Rene Mesgarlou, who for the first 3 years was just really busy, life took over, and he was doing his government thing. But once he got started after 3 years, he had over $8 million of accumulated volume. I mean, his volume never got flushed. He always knew that GWT was going to be here for him, and within less than 25 months, made $1 million because 2/3 of the work had already been there for him because we never flush volume at GWT. Okay, we never flush volume. Another question: does the compensation plan have a block on the volume that can be accumulated? So some companies actually have a block on how much volume that can accumulate, like a certain cap or a certain amount that can be accumulated. At GWT, there's no cap on how much volume you can carry over week after week after week. So again, at GWT, there's no maximum of how much volume can carry over. There's no blocks, okay? So another question is there a maximum in how much commission you can make from your business center, and how much is it? So some companies might not show that they have a blocking or flushing of volume, but most companies do have a maximum of how much you can make in commissions from your business centers, okay? Now, I believe that in GWT, making $10,000 a week in commissionable volume, okay, times 3 business centers at $30,000 a week is more than enough for anyone. And in fact, you can help others at that point in time, right? But some companies only have a maximum of $1,000 per week. So not to give any names out there, I'm just dying to give you these names, but I know I can't. But other companies have like a maximum weekly commission of $1,000 a week. And if you want to make another $1,000 a week for 2,000 grand total, you have to build a third leg. If you want another $1,000 for 3,000 total, build yourself a third leg. So some companies, to make $10,000 a week, like we can here at GWT, you have to build like 10 legs to achieve the same results. At GWT, you only have to build just that one business center for life and make $10,000 per week for life. Okay, and that's the example we just covered just now. Is really in GWT, would you rather build just 2 legs, or do you want to have to build 9 legs to achieve the same kind of payout? Okay, so moving right along here. Pitfall number 6: how many legs to build? This is a big one, okay? Because some people just don't even think about this. But if your compensation plan requires you to build more than 2 legs, then guess what? It's a Hadouken, Shoryuken. It's game over. Like you just got, the super TKO finish, okay? Game over. Because I think we can all agree that building 5 legs is easier than building 10 legs. And building 3 legs is easier than building 5 legs. And building 2 legs is easier than building just 3 legs. And again, you can't build less than 2 legs because that's illegal. So in the direct sales and basically the Competition Bureau and the FTC rules, you have to build at least 2 legs. Okay, so it's the easiest, right? And I don't get why some people don't get this, because some people believe that, well, I think building 4 legs is good. I'm like, well, why is that? They're like, well, I don't know. Someone told me about that. I'm like, well, it wouldn't be nice to build just 2 legs and put those, so the 4 that you have, you put 2 on one leg, 2 on the other leg, and you stack them together. So you're helping each other. And they're like, oh, okay, that sounds good. Like, yeah, obviously, right? So, okay, building 2 legs just makes more sense than building 10 legs, okay? Because longevity and retention is always in depth. The deeper you build someone's leg, and if they only have 2 legs and you build it very deep, the stronger it becomes. Why? because people see how much volume they have there and they don't want to quit because they realize that 2/3 of the work have already been done for them. So remember this, longevity and retention is always in depth, not in width, okay? Building it wide does nothing to help anyone else but yourself. Building it deep, you're helping everyone build their one leg, okay? Another why? Because if someone joined for a while and they have no one on their team, what's going to happen? They may actually quit. But if someone joins after 1 year, they have one really strong leg growing, they realize, you know what? If I actually work the business, if I actually put some effort into the business, I would make some income. So let's get my butt going. And that's the power of building someone's one leg, okay? And again, if you had 10 people join you and you had to build 10 different legs, then you would have to put one person in each leg. So imagine you have one circle and 10 different legs and one person in each leg, right? But if you only had 2 legs to build, then you could put 5 people together on top of each other on one leg and put 5 people on top of each other on the other leg. So, isn't it nice to have someone join below you? So most of you on the call tonight, you probably joined and had someone join your team without lifting a finger. And that's the power of just building 2 legs because the stacking happens, okay? Pitfall number 7. Do you get a payout on all of your legs? What does that mean? Payout on all of your legs. It means that you're not getting paid out different amounts on different legs, okay? So again, does your compensation plan pay you volume for all of your legs? Because the biggest scam, in my opinion, that I've seen in certain companies are the ones that only pay you on what they call the pay leg or the weaker leg, okay? Because if that happens, no, game over. Okay, if you see a comp plan that says, guess what? We pay you on a pay leg or a weaker leg. You know what I call that? I call it a sucker leg. Okay, that's like a sucker leg because you're getting sucked into this thing thinking it's a good thing. Okay, so the reality is, if you see a comp plan that pays you this pay leg or weaker leg, change the word pay to sucker. Change your weaker to sucker because you're getting sucked into this silliness. Okay, because if a company only pays you on your weakest leg, then you're never going to touch any of the volume on the bigger leg. So this bigger leg that you have, that they're saying, we're going to help you build your bigger leg, say thank you, but no thanks. Because that bigger leg, you never get paid a dime from it. So what's the point in having a bigger leg if you don't pay me on the bigger leg? Okay? The bigger leg should be called like a pyramid scam leg because you never get paid on that leg, okay? So here's an example of what I mean. On the left diagram, we have company ABC that pays you 10% on the weaker leg, okay? Versus GWT that pays you 10% on both legs. So in ABC, let's say you had this bigger leg over here of 100,000 volume. And on your left leg, you had only 1667 of volume. Well, an ABC company that pays you the sucker leg, that pays you 10% on the weaker leg, they pay you 10% of 1667, which is a payout of $166. I hope that makes sense. One more time. ABC company, your right leg is your bigger volume leg. Your left leg is your pay leg or the weaker leg or the sucker leg. You get paid 10% on the weaker leg. So 10% of 1667 is about $166. Okay, that's your payout. At GWT, we pay you 10% on both legs, but we're 1/3, 2/3. So for the same big side volume of 100,000 volume, left side you have 1667. Guess what? We're 1/3, 2/3. So we take 167 on the weaker leg. We take 3333 from the bigger leg, because that's 2/3. We add it together for a total of 5,000 volume, and then we pay you 10%, which is how much? $500. Your payout is literally 3 times the payout, more than 3 times the payout. So let me ask you a question. Do you want to get paid $166? Or do you want to get paid $500 for the exact same effort? And if you dare answer me that you want to get paid $166, then boy, oh boy, the brainwashing you got is some super strong brainwashing power fluid there. Because the reality is, everyone would rather take the $500, okay? And Gary, who's beside me, is actually laughing his pants here. Okay, more water. So excited. Number 8, payout on legs. Is it variable? Okay, so some companies require that you have to balance your legs in a certain manner. So does your company have to be exactly 50-50? Okay, or does your company have to be exactly 1/3 or 2/3, or 2/3 and 1/3? Guess what? GWT, it's all of the above. You don't have to have a certain rigid structure to follow where, if you don't build a certain left team smaller than right team bigger, that you get hurt. GWT combines all of the above combinations and more, anything in between. So let's say that your mandate was to get 5,000 volume, okay? Your job is to get 5,000 of volume to get paid $500. Well, if the plan was 50-50, it means that you have to have exactly 2,500 left and 2,500 right to get paid 5,500. It has to be 50-50, right? So if you had 2,000, 3,000, guess what? You're not getting paid out because it's not 50-50, okay? So by GWT, it could be 50-50. It could be 2,000, 3,000. It could be left 3,000, right 2,000. It could be left 1667, right 3333, or any combination. So long as you have at least 1667 on one leg, and or anything or anything more than that, up to 50-50, you get paid your $500. Okay. So again, the key question is, do you pay out on more than just one rigid structure? So do you have to balance your leg? GWT, it's variable. It plays on all different kinds of combinations. So again, here's an example. Left diagram is company ABC that pays you 10% based on 50-50, and GWT that pays you 10% on variable. Okay, so ABC company, your right leg is your bigger leg, your left leg is your smaller leg. So if they pay you a 10% of 1667 and 10% of the right side of 1667, because 50-50, then 1667 plus the other 50%, which is another 1667 on the right side, is a total of 3333 that pays you 10%, which is $333. Okay, so it has to be 50-50. So we take 1667 on the left and 1667 on the right, add it together for 3333. We pay you 10%, $333. But because GWT is a variable plan, again, we take 1/3 from the small side, 2/3 on the bigger side. So we take 1667 plus 3333 for a total of 5,000. We pay you 10%, which is $500. So again, do you want to get paid $333, or do you prefer $500? And if you dare answer me $333, then boy, oh boy, that brainwashing pill is some strong pill you got there. Because I would prefer $500 any given day of my life. All right, so pitfall number 9. Does your payout require requalification? So some companies, again, the question to ask is, do you need to maintain a certain qualification or requalify to keep your commission payout? Okay, because if you have to do some sort of requalification to maintain your commission payout, then game over. Okay, game over. Because at GWT, as long as you pay your monthly contributions of the 35 or 75 or 150, you're going to keep making your commissions. In other companies, you have to sponsor people every single month to be able to unlock your certain kind of payout. Okay, I'll give you a quick story here. I met 2 ladies who are in this company that said they have this retention ratio of 97%. Okay, and one of the 2 ladies, the downline who invited me out, she brought her upline, and I asked the upline, well, how much are you making? And she goes, well, I'm making, in the last 12 years of my company that has a 97% retention ratio, I made $12 million. And my first question was, great, why'd you quit? If you made $12 million in your company, over the last 12 years, whatever it is, why did you quit? And she said, well, the company made me do something that I didn't want to do. And my answer was, well, I mean, do it anyway, because if you're making $12 million and you really have a retention ratio of 97%, why would you quit? And the reality was because, she's not making the money anymore. There's too many, there's not really this real retention ratio, which we'll cover later on. But then I turned to the other girl, the downline. I said, well, how much are you making? She said, well, I'm making $10,000 to $12,000 a month in the business, in my last business. So I said, well, why did you quit? She said, well, I got sick for 1 year, and the company, you have to basically sponsor people every single month in order to maintain your leadership points to get paid your residual income. So I said, well, if you're making 12 grand a month, why don't you just take 2 grand of that 12 grand, sponsor your dog and your cat, or your neighbor's dog and their cat, and keep making the other $10,000 a month income. And again, the reality is because she didn't really have this retention ratio of 97%. My point is that the other companies have a lot of these really funny, weird rules and qualifications where you have to do something in order to keep paid your commission. At GWT, we have none of that. Pitfall number 10 ties into my previous story, which is your retention ratio. Okay, what's your company's retention ratio for monthly reorders? Okay, because the DSA average for the best distributor monthly activity ratio at best is 6%. So most companies, after 1 year being in business, what's going to happen here is that after that 1 year mark, you'll notice that majority of the people are not paying their monthly auto ship. Most people are now, are not paying it. So you have about 6% that's left. Okay, and at GWT, we have at the very worst case scenario, like 40%. But in most cases, it's about 70, 80% that I've seen. Okay, and then I've seen some other stats here where the DSA's average for best distributor retention ratio for renewing their orders is 10%. At GWT, we're at least 50% and above. So we're at any point in time, we're more than 800% better in terms of our stats than the best in other companies. Okay, so to finish my last story, the girl who said that they had a 97% retention ratio, I asked them, so how exactly do you calculate this 97% retention ratio? And the downline kept going in circles, but the upline realized that I was really covering this point, and the upline told me, well, Rene, when you join the forum, there's a checkbox that says to do a one-time reorder once your supplies run out. And that's how we calculate this 97% retention ratio based on one reorder. That's like me saying at GT, well, we have a 150% retention ratio because everyone pays their second month auto IA payment, right? There's so much nonsense going out there. So don't get fooled by these stories. Ask those questions. Be very specific. How do you exactly calculate this retention ratio? So again, we had the best. Now, in my opinion, Rene's opinion here, is that people join MLM or network marketing to make money. Otherwise, for the products, there's thousands in the market and not just in MLM. But if you join the health and wellness industry, whether it's vitamins, makeup, spa packages, spa care, weight loss, juices, healthy coffee, healthy diet coffee, not healthy coffee, not diet healthy coffee, make you fat coffee, whatever you're enjoying, as long as it's in health and wellness, there are 30 million people out there competing against you. So my point is, the second you join a company that is selling health and wellness, game over. You're not going to be able to make those huge incomes you dream of for life. In fact, those companies, that all the leaders will quit after a few months, join another company for 6 months, quit again, join another company, quit again, join another company, quit again. And what's happening there is that a lot of casualties are being made. So in my opinion, there's no point in joining MLM if it's in health and wellness. There's no point. You're just wasting your time unless you actually want the products to, whatever it is. But in most cases, you can buy it cheaper at Walmart or Shoppers Drug Mart, okay? So again, payout retention continued. Are you here to make money once, or are you here to make it for life? Okay? Because if every 3 months, a new company comes out with the best products and the latest and greatest something, then what do? Okay? Do you keep fighting with these new companies and you're constantly in a product battle trying to say why your products are better and keep your people in? And every distributor in each company, though, is saying they have, the best product. I mean, I was in one meeting with a New Skin Girl, Market America, USANA meeting, and I asked a funny question. I said, well, who has the best products? And everyone says, I do. So you're constantly competing with everyone else. Okay, so that's just so tough. So, or do you watch your team leave you and join these other companies because they had the latest and greatest something? Or do you leave first and bring your team with you and keep switching every few months or a few years? If you do that, you're losing your credibility. People don't trust you. They don't think that you care about them because you're just trying the next thing. You want their money to join again, and you're off to the next company again. So how often do you see leaders switching companies, and why? Why do people switch companies? Because teams are leaving them. The only time a leader ever switches companies is because their teams are quitting on them and not making any money. Okay. And the other question is, do you have to become half a doctor? Because most companies require you to know, all this osteosmosis or these cellular level DNA studies, and it's so tough because the average person cannot become a doctor and give proper medical advice. And lastly, do people need to try your products? If someone has to try your product, then you have a risk after 3 months they might not like your products. So GWT is so nice here. People don't have to lick your ring. They don't lick the silver and say, oh, that's some really good silver there, Rene. Or they don't lick your fairy mile. Oh, that's some real gold there, right? People don't have to try your product. They see it, they like it, they buy it. Okay, it's like instant gratification. Okay? And again, does your company sell a need or a want? Because want is always stronger than need. Okay? People don't need to smoke, they want to smoke. People don't need to drink, like me, but I like to drink. Okay? People don't need to shop, but when they're depressed, they go shopping. Okay? People don't need to buy brand name stuff, but they want to buy brand name stuff. So GWT, people want our products. It's an instant appeal. It's instant gratification. So no need to lick the ring or lick the posh. You just know you like it. Our products don't expire. They don't go bad. They don't go obsolete. Rather, they gain value over time. They can be passed down generation after generation, and they make you look good. I mean, they give you that boost in self-esteem. Like when I wear my Fairy Marsh ring, man, I feel like I'm like, just, with the power of Grayskull, I become Superman. I have my tiger cat. Like, I just feel sick when I wear my Fairy Marsh ring. Okay, Gary's laughing again. So, okay, retention continue. So again, short answer here. Does your company sell vitamins? Answer is yes, and game over. Does the company sell juices? Yes, and game over. Does the company sell weight loss? Game over. Do you sell health and wellness? Game over. Do you sell telecommunications? Game over. Do you sell technologies? Game over. They go obsolete, right? Latest technologies come out all the time. Does your company sell something that someone else can copy, imitate, duplicate, and switch from your company to another? The answer is yes, then game over. At GWT, we are a brand, first of all, and people love buying brands. No one just shops at one brand like Coach or just Gucci. People love buying all kinds of brands because they want it. Plus at GWT, we have Plankton, Fairmark 19K, 21K. Like we have products that no other company in the world, not just in direct selling, has. So no other company can copy what we do because no one else has 19 karat gold, 21 karat gold, or Plankton, or Posh, or Fairy. Okay. Number 11, we're almost done here, folks. Sorry for the late time, but we're just so passionate here. Payout ED ratio, the earning per distributor ratio. What is the average earning per distributor in your company? Ask that question because the average is one person pays you $1. So to make $10,000 a month passive income, you got to have 10,000 people. Well, if you're in high-tech and telecommunication companies, it's maximum 30 cents per distributor. So you need 3 times more people to get paid the same amount. At GWT, we pay up to $8.93 per person. That's almost 800 times better. It's 8,000% better than the average because every 5,000 points pays you $500. So diamond members give you 90 points per month. So 56 diamonds at 90 points each is more than 5,000 points, pays you $500 residual income. So $500 divided by 56 people is $8.93 per person. That's 800% more than the average. That's how high we pay out in GWT. For example, would you rather have 100 people in your team paying you $100 a month, or would you rather have 100 people in your team paying you $893 per month? Because that's why the earning per distributor is so important. You get paid more for the same amount of people, okay? And again, almost done. Pitfall number 11, payout in retail sales. Does your company actually have real retail sales? Because most companies only have a retail sale segment because they want to look legitimate. But most companies promote retail sale commissions and how much you can make doing it. But in reality, no one actually sells retail because the product simply costs too much. Okay, so no one buys vitamins at the retail price of $400 because it's so expensive. They'd rather join and buy the members pricing. Okay. So again, example, ABC company promotes that they sell all kinds of products online, and their entire presentation is talking about online sales, but the reality is that no one is actually selling retail. They're just getting people to join and buy vitamins every month. So again, game over, okay? Because I know some companies that promote buying a keyboard online, but if you really want to buy a keyboard because you actually needed a keyboard and you're driving by Best Buy or Future Shop, would you not just buy it and go inside and buy it, or would you rather go online, buy it through your friend? Of course you buy it right away because you need that laptop. You go into the store, you buy it. You don't ever buy it online. So a lot of companies actually fake they have retail sales, okay? At GWT, we have insane retail profits through the lookbook catalog division, the home branded product division, and the online division and trade shows. So we have real retail sales happening all the time. Pitfall number 12 is your payout in matching bonuses. So does a company have a matching bonus, and how much is it? Okay. Some companies don't even have a matching bonus, first of all. Some companies pay a very high percentage, but be very careful because some companies pay a big percentage on a matching bonus, but on a small number. So paying 100% matching bonus on $1, you're only making $1. If you get paid 10% of $500 at GWT, that's $50, right? So again, example, ABC company pays you 100% matching bonus on your personal sponsored member John's check. John made $20, so you made a $20 matching bonus. At GWT, you get paid 10% matching bonus when someone makes $500. So 10% of 500 is $50, more than twice the payout, okay? So again, be very careful. Is your company heavily focused on bonuses and not commissions, then game over. Because if your company focuses on bonuses, you're not going to make those huge lifelong passive incomes here, okay? Next payout is your payout to buy leaders. Some companies pay leaders to join the company. Why would a company do that? For example, it's very easy that, let's say you and me go to Malaysia, we find a new mushroom extract and create a brand new latest and greatest and best product something. So we have the product, but how do we build the organization now? So do we start targeting people to join us and be at the top? We could, but it's very slow. So what's the faster way? We get leaders to join us. But why would a leader join you just to be at the top of your company when they're already making money in another company? So a leader will not just leave. They only leave to join you if you give them a big sign-up bonus, okay? So, people get paid to join other companies, but to me, is that real? Is that a real story? To me, no, it's not. So, are these leaders that you see on stage promoting how much they're making on Facebook or on stage, they're saying how much they're making, but it's not real. So at GWT here, what says that all the top earners of the company actually start from the bottom and built it to what they're making today. It's a real story at GWT here. No leaders ever bought at GWT. Every earner made it themselves. Okay. So again, are you ever impressed by fake stories? Because people always tell me, well, Rene, I heard that at this other company, ABC company, that someone makes $1 billion a year. Okay. And that's why they're in the business, okay? But firstly, these stories are most of the time not real, okay? And secondly, if someone is actually making that kind of money, it usually means the timing is wrong because it takes so many people to get there that most people have already heard about the company already. So your timing is too late, okay? Because when you hear a lot about one company, if people are talking about ABC company, but out of 10 people, 9 have already heard about it, game over. It's already too late. It's already been too saturated as well too, okay? And thirdly, Never look at what someone else is making and assume you can make it too. Okay, don't ever think that because I can make my income or Reza can or someone else can, it means that you can too. What you have to look at is the other facts and stats that we covered today. Okay, everything we covered today, look at those stats and see if it can work for you. Because GWT only has 12,000 people in the company. We're a brand and we're the best opportunity on this planet. Ladies and gentlemen, folks, I'm exhausted but so excited to share with you this company here. Okay, there's no compensation plan in the world that pays out more. There's no product more unique in direct sales than in our company. There's no product more unique in the world than in our company. There's nothing more you can ask for from GWT. The only thing you need to do is take action. And again, to show you guys what I've done here, if you go to my website, just to prove it to you, okay, what I've done here is on our GWT.com, okay. If you go to my website here, it's loading. On the left banner here, you're going to see a section that says compensation plan comparisons. The training tonight will be under the pitfalls over here, but compensation plan comparisons, what I've done on everyone's behalf is a huge disclaimer, but I've actually looked at so many companies here and put the review of how these companies compare and pay out to GWT. And not one company in this whole entire list has ever paid out more than GWT. So ladies and gentlemen, boy, oh boy, I hope you guys got a lot from that training. I hope you guys took a lot of notes there. I want to turn the call back to our amazing host, Mr. Liaw Scaler. Of course, I think we have some questions coming in, but first of all, Liaw, back to you.
Oh my God, that was an incredible training. I hope that every single person who was on the call was taking notes. I know that people are probably wondering, was this recorded? The answer is yes. Wow, wow, wow. Incredible, incredible training, Rene. Always learn something new every time you do that training. And, you know, once this video comes out, this video should be sent to every single person in the network marketing profession that you know, so that for once in their life, for once in their career, they can be educated on what's important, and most importantly, they will finally have the answer for themselves why either they're not making a lot of money or why most people in their company are not making a lot of money. And this video will help them to explain that. So incredible job, my friend Rene. That was amazing. And I guess we'll open the floor for any questions or comments. Rene, you still there?
Oh yeah, sorry, someone actually muted me there. I was going to say that, you know, Liaw,
Yep, there you go.
we did this training together in Miami a little bit, and we just saw so many people just shocked and didn't realize the things happening out there. So, you know, just such an honor to share this information and educate people about the reality of MLM today. So we do have some comments coming in here that I'll just read out really quickly here, unless unless you want to, Liaw. I'm not sure if you have access to the question box there or not. But just to go over some quick comments here, and you know, if you have any questions, now's the time. Go into the little chat box there and type in your question, you know, or your comment. We'd love to hear your feedback on what you thought tonight's training here. So from Nando Malaragno, apologize for the bad pronunciation, but it says, "Wow, Rene, can't ever get enough of your training. Took lots of notes. Great training. Thank you so much, Nando. Jody says, "Great job, Rene. Excellent training." Thank you very much, Jody. And from Mr. Rene Mesgarlou, our national ambassador, car recipient, he said, "Amazing training. So much great information, which no other company talks about because they don't want you to know." Great job. Absolutely correct there. You know, the reality is that most companies are so scared to share this information with you because it would destroy the business. Imagine a company saying, you know, hey guys, we have ranks, but we have ranks to screw you. You know, it's like you wouldn't even join in the first place, right? So But that's exactly why in our company we don't have ranks, so we're not scared to cover these kind of topics tonight. So from Junior SOS, he says, awesome training, Rene. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Junior. Who's there again at our tax training a while ago. Patrice says, I'm blown away with the wealth of info tonight. Thank you, Rene. Go GWT. Thank you very much, Patrice there. Nando says again, a nice try for pronouncing his last name. Here we go, one last time. Nando Malaragno. There we go. Okay, thank you very much, Nando. From, of course, Eleanor says, very nice and interesting explanation. From Irene has a little question here that says about the flushing. So every company, in order to maintain the volume that you have, the bare minimum requirement is to basically pay your monthly contributions. So whether it's your monthly reorder, your monthly auto ship, in order to make the residual income, you have to pay an auto ship, right? So at GWT, it's the same thing here. You have to pay your monthly monthly contribution of 35 or 75 or 150. What I'm saying here tonight is that we don't have anything else that flushes the volume. So other companies, if you don't maintain a certain kind of quota, they might flush your volume. They might have a cap on volume, or they might have some ranks that restrict your volume. All I'm saying is that it's a very simple plan at GWT. Pay your monthly contribution, no flushing of volume, no cap on volume, no carryover volume as well too. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question over there too. So again, at GWT, most of the companies, they want you to lose your volume. So they actually want you to actually miss one of your payments and have your volume flushed. At GWT here, we don't want you to lose your volume. So our company, if we ever, first of all, we try to charge your monthly contribution about 1 week before. In case your credit card, has expired or you're not in town, we have a chance to call you. And we actually call you, we actually email you at GWT to make sure you get a chance to pay that monthly contribution, So, we're actually being proactive to try to get you to pay your contribution to maintain your volume. Okay, so other companies don't even do that, and that's what's nice here about GWT. So we want you to keep your volume, and sometimes I've seen some people that might have been like a few seconds late, they still got that volume given back to them. So in my back office, I have like 4 credit cards as backups in case one of them was ever actually didn't go through or I wasn't in town. Okay, so again, Eleanor says thank you. Anna Rodriguez says, knowledge is power. Here at GWT, we get the knowledge from the right sources. Thank you, Rene. I hope every GWT member was on this call. Super job and so educational. That's from Anna Lee. Again, thank you so much, Anna Lee, and always a pleasure having you on the trainings and, of course, helping us all the time here, too. And from Gregor Brath Whitey, again, I apologize for the bad pronunciation. I'm Chinese. He said, this training was very informative. Thank you very much, Gregor. From Jolie, thank you in capitals, great training. Thank you, Jolie, the Karadachka. I think I got that one right. Thank you very much. And again, let's see here. Again, just someone making a comment here that basically, talking about retail sales is that, I see other companies where, to make a retail sale, is very tough. But at GWT here, Posh is so inexpensive that people are selling Posh, all over the world. That was the main purpose of us having Posh, was to allow the retail sales to be done a lot more easier. So I personally have myself, before I never actually sold anything. I always focused on building the team. But of course, when I had my own home parties, I was actually able to sell Posh. So if the same person actually was able to focus on selling Posh and actually put time into learning how to do retail sales, they would actually sell retail sales. So if you're having a bit of a challenge in selling Posh, then you want to take some time to get trained on how to make become effective in retail sales. And the biggest way of doing that, of course, is to make sure that you actually wear the products and of course promote it. And again, don't forget that your price as a member is always half of the actual retail price. So you don't always have to sell. I have some people that sell higher than the retail price, and some that sell lower. If you're not effective at all at selling retail, then you want to get more training on the retail so you know how to explain the quality of the products. And I find that the people who can't sell retail, the ones who don't get enough product training to be able to explain why, is our posh, hypoallergenic? What's so unique about our fair silver line, right? I know that it's actually handmade, and that's handset stones, and that it's